Analysis. Welcome in CBS Sports HQ NBA analyst John Gonzalez. John, we talked pregame about this game, and I'm not sure that I saw it happening this way. Your reaction to an absolute blowout. Now, the score perhaps not indicative of the final score, but that was over in the third quarter.
Yeah, that was utter devastation, domination by the Nuggets. I didn't anticipate this. I thought that they would want to avenge last year when they blew that 20-point lead against the Wolves. But, man, the Clippers didn't put up much of a fight at all. I mean, you had all five players plus Russell Westbrook in double figures for the Nuggets who just blew them out in the second half. I mean, the Clippers didn't even bother playing Kawhi and James Harden in that fourth quarter. And if you want to know, yeah, it was a 19-point game on the scorecard here, and maybe the box score makes it look like it was closer than it actually was. It was not. That was the Clippers' second unit actually showing some pride because the first unit didn't. And if you want to know how bad this blowout actually was and how much that the Nuggets absolutely throttled the Clippers, look no further than one Russell Westbrook, who in the fourth quarter threw down a dunk and decided to swing on the rim like he was a kid in a schoolyard, back and forth, knowing he was going to get a technical, knowing he's going to get fined, not caring at all, just basically dancing on the Clippers' grave. Yeah, that was a blowout.
He had 16 points off the bench for the Nuggets. If he was still playing for the Clippers, that would have been the second most points for the Clippers because James Harden did not have the second most points for the Clippers behind Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard was good. James Harden was not. Again, another no-show in a Game 7, in an elimination game for James Harden. 2 of 8 for 7 points. Yeah, he had 13 assists, but, John, we talked about this pregame as well. Another Houdini act for one James Harden.
Yeah, so he had 13 assists, 10 of those in the first half, and you could think, okay, well, maybe he's setting up the other guys and he's trying to get the Clippers going. You lose this game by 19. You could have lost this game by 40, frankly, if the Nuggets had kept in their starters. James Harden, you're setting up other players who are inferior to you offensively. In a game where the only person in the first unit who really showed out and showed up was Kawhi Leonard, they needed your offense. They did not need your playmaking as much as they needed you to be the second best scorer on this team, which you are, at least on paper. Unfortunately, this game isn't played on paper. It's played on the court. And once again, in a Game 7 where you need James Harden to be a superhero and an all-star and a former MVP, he vanished. Ask Sixers fans and the Sixers organization how that goes. Ask the Rockets, when he played for the Rockets, when he was an MVP, how that goes. It happened again for the Clippers. And I'd like to say that I'm surprised, but I'm not. I mean, James Harden is a very good player, and he had an excellent season. In a year where Kawhi Leonard didn't get onto the team and play in the regular season until much later in the year because they were trying to bring him along slowly and make sure that he was healthy. James Harden was the one who ran that offense and generated points for them and made sure that he was distributing and getting everybody involved. Tonight, 13 assists gets you absolutely nowhere, and they're going home because of it.
Do you think the reason to hold Kawhi back was more of a necessity, or do you think it was more in trying to prepare for the postseason?
Yeah, was trying to prepare for the postseason, and at least by what we saw in this 7-game series, that part worked, right? That panned out. They had an idea. They had a theory of the case that let's not worry about Kawhi early in the year. Let's bring him along slowly. Let's bring him along towards the back end of the regular season, and then hopefully he'll be healthy for the playoffs. Well, that part worked out. He was excellent in this series. Kawhi Leonard was not the problem. The fact that he played all 7 games and was, frankly, probably the best player for either team throughout the series, that's a win for the Clippers. The problem was everything else. This is the oldest team, Akeem, in the NBA. James Harden, you needed more from him throughout. He was inconsistent. He had a good Game 6, but an awful Game 5 and an awful Game 7. Norm Powell, who had a glow-up year because Paul George left. He goes to the Sixers. Now the Clippers rightly decided not to pay Paul George, and they said, you know what? New Paul George is Norm Powell. Congratulations, Norm. He had a good season. Guess what? Not that great of a series here. Yeah, look, the Clippers, not a lot of people had expectations for this team. I personally didn't. I had them outside of the playoffs looking in. Well, they proved me wrong. They were the 5 seed, and they took the Nuggets to Game 7 and gave them everything they could through the first 6 games, but it was that last game where nobody showed up but Kawhi Leonard.
What will be the excuse then? What do you think Clippers fans will say? What do you think the players will say will be the excuse? Because we heard LeBron say, well, we didn't have time to gel enough. We didn't have a center we had all these excuses. I mean, excuses are for losers. That's just what it is, right? You can make statements for sure, but if you're James Harden, if you're that organization, what's the excuse this time? Another first-round exit.
I don't know that there is an excuse beyond that the Nuggets were ultimately better through 7 games. I mean, your top-line talent for the Nuggets showed up in Game 7. You had all 5 players plus Russ in double figures. It was such a runaway victory for them that they basically got to rest Nikola Jokic for the next round in this game. He came in towards the end of the 4th quarter, but he only played 32 minutes. He had 16, 10, and 8. That's a regular season, like, I don't know, late November, early December line for Joker, right? That's a team that came to play in Game 7. For the Clippers, they didn't come to play. Their first unit didn't beyond Kawhi Leonard. If you're looking for an excuse here, the excuse is you didn't show up. You weren't as good as the Nuggets. Flat out, you did not show up. And the offense, frankly, the Clippers' offense, this is a team that's built around their defense. They needed a ton of offense tonight outside of Kawhi Leonard, and they just did not get it.
How about the game from Aaron Gordon and Christian Brown? Don't call me Christian Braun. I mean, they were excellent, right? I mean, if you can get production like them, and we saw, of course, Aaron Gordon with the tip-in dunk at the buzzer, the first time in NBA history to win a game in that scenario. We always say this all the time. Role players play better at home, and this year they did.
Yeah, there was questions about the role players too, right? Because they were like intermittently good / available during the regular season. Aaron Gordon was in and out of the lineup, and his offense comes in spurts. But as you mentioned, he had that throw-in dunk game winner that was the closest game winner that I've ever seen. And then tonight he was excellent. I was a little curious about what kind of offense that they would get out of him because, again, you're not sure. It's a little shaky at times. He was fantastic at both ends of the floor. And then Christian Brown. I was wrong about Christian Brown. When Kentavious Caldwell-Pope decamped during the offseason and went to the Orlando Magic, we were told by Calvin Booth, who was no longer the general manager. Shouts to Calvin Booth. He's probably kicking himself right now. But he was right about Christian Brown. He said Christian Brown's going to step in from being our 6th man into the starting lineup. He's going to be the new KCP. And I thought, that's a terrible idea. Where are you going to get scoring off your bench? Well, they were right about this. Christian Brown was fantastic. He got some consideration for 6th man of the year this season or last season, and then this season, stepping into the starting lineup, he looked really good. Most improved player is what I was looking for. He got some consideration there. He's been really good. And this Nuggets team, when those guys are scoring and when Jamal Murray is actively engaged and, Michael Porter Jr. is dealing with the shoulder injury, that's what Nikola Jokic needs. He needs just a little bit of help, not a ton, because he's the best player in the world. He can do a lot himself. But those guys tonight were fantastic.
So the Denver Nuggets moving on to play the top seed in the West, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Split the regular season for whatever that's worth. And this is interesting as well, John. Teams coming off a sweep have won 5 straight playoff series against teams coming off a Game 7. And the last team coming off a sweep to defeat a team coming off a Game 7 was the Nuggets against the Heat in the 2023 NBA Finals. Of course, Denver won that. So now you have the team that's been playing every day, as it feels like, against the team that's sitting, rested, ready. This is a matchup of the presumptive 1-2 finishers in the NBA MVP voting in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Nikola Jokic. So this is incredible for basketball fans. How are you evaluating it? Because Vegas thinks it's over before it starts, minus 900 for the Thunder to win this series.
Yeah, I'm on the Thunder too, but man, from an entertainment standpoint, the NBA's got to be really happy about this because you have the 1 versus 2 finishers in the MVP race in whichever order that they finish. It's probably going to be SGA. I think it should be Nikola Jokic because his numbers this season were absolutely undeniable, but there's no wrong answer there for who should win MVP. So you got those two guys clashing. You've got the Nuggets who, yes, they've been playing a ton of basketball, but they've got some fantastic storylines, and it's that classic rust versus rest situation for the Oklahoma City Thunder. I think they're going to be great. They've had a really great season. By every metric during the regular season, they were gangbusters, and you saw how they dismantled the poor Memphis Grizzlies. They just ran right through them. It was the 6th best, biggest point differential in a 4-game sweep in NBA history, and they are just loaded up and down their roster. See, that's the difference between the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Nuggets. The Thunder, 1 through 8 are just guys who constantly show up and show out. Whereas the Nuggets, beyond Nikola Jokic, you're going, okay, like Aaron Gordon was really good in the series and he was good in Game 7. What kind of Aaron Gordon are you going to get going forward? What kind of Jamal Murray are you going to get? Are you going to get the aggressive, hunting his shots, two-man game with Nikola Jokic, or are you going to get the guy who's sometimes a little passive or a little rusty? I think it's going to be a fantastic series. I'm still on the Thunder. I wouldn't say it's going to be a runaway for the Thunder, but they're absolutely the favorites here.
Game 1 of that series set for Monday night, beginning in Oklahoma City. Nikola Jokic against Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. It's going to be fun. A good series getting underway. John Gonzalez here with us on CBS Sports.